Hey guys, tonight we begin with something a little darker. A sport that's not quite what you'd expect. Picture yourself in ancient Mesoamerica, the sun beating down on your back. The crowd is roaring and the pressure is mounting. But you're not one of the players. No, you're not one of the victors basking in the glory of winning. You're the one who has the most dangerous job in the arena. Yes, you're the referee. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You find yourself standing at the edge of a massive stone court. The air heavy with the tension of hundreds of spectators watching your every move. The game is about to begin, and there's no turning back now. You're the one who must ensure that everything runs smoothly, that every rule is followed, and that justice prevails in the name of the gods. The stakes are high, not just for the players, but for you as well. Welcome to the world of the Maya Ballgame, where the rules are strange, the consequences are severe, and the job of the referee is nothing short of terrifying. Let me set the scene. The ball court before you is an intimidating structure. Long, stone walls with towering figures of gods and rulers carved into them loom over the arena. It's a sacred place, not just for the game, but for the world itself. The Maya didn't just play for fun. They played for life and death, for honor, for the favor of the gods. And guess what? You're the one who gets to decide if they live or die. No pressure, right? The game itself? It's no easy feat imagine a cross between basketball and soccer. Except the ball is made of solid rubber. And the goals? They're stone rings positioned high on each side of the court. But here's the twist. The players can't use their hands or feet. No, they have to keep the ball in motion with their hips, elbows, and knees. As a referee, you'll be expected to keep up with this chaotic, acrobatic spectacle. And believe me, if you miss even one foul, the consequences are dire. But this isn't just a game. It's a powerful political tool. You've been chosen for your position because you're seen as a neutral force, a representative of the gods themselves. You're the one who ensures that the contest is fair and that the right team wins. You hold the power to change lives with every whistle you blow. That power, though, comes at a cost. See, the Maya weren't just playing for glory. They were playing for survival. The gods, ever fickle, demanded sacrifice. And that sacrifice might just come in the form of you, the referee. As the game begins, you watch as the players take their positions. The crowd goes silent, their eyes fixed on the court, waiting for the action to unfold. You feel the weight of their expectation on your shoulders. A single mistake, a single misstep, and you could be the one sacrifice to appease the gods. Because in the Maya world, the line between victory and death is razor thin. The tension in the air is palpable. You watch the ball soar through the air, players diving to keep it in play, their bodies twisting in impossible angles. You're forced to keep up, your eyes darting from player to player, your mind racing to spot any infractions. Was that a foul? Did the player step out of bounds? Your heart races as you prepare to make the call. The crowd is holding its breath, and so are you. But here's the thing. Refereeing a Maya ball game is a lot like playing the game yourself. You're not just officiating from the sidelines. You're part of the drama, part of the spectacle. You're on display, just like the players. Every decision you make is scrutinized. Every movement is watched. And worse, the consequences of a bad call could be catastrophic. If you make a mistake, you're not just risking your reputation, you're risking your life. And let's not forget about the gods. You're not just refereeing for the people. You're officiating in a game that's dedicated to the gods themselves. The Maya believed that this ball game had cosmic significance. The outcome of the game wasn't just about winning or losing. It was about maintaining balance in the universe. If you mismanage that balance, well, the gods might not be too pleased. And when the gods are upset, they demand retribution. That retribution could be swift and brutal. And it's not the players who are going to suffer. No, it's you, the referee. So here you are, standing at the heart of it all. The game unfolding before you like a fast-moving river. And you're the one who must navigate it, making split-second decisions that could change everything. The pressure is relentless, but you've been trained for this moment. At least, that's what you tell yourself as you raise your whistle to your lips. As you blow the whistle to signal the next round, the tension in the air is thick. The players continue to battle it out, and you're right there in the thick of it, just a few paces away from the chaos. You've got to keep your head cool, your eyes sharp, and your judgment even sharper. Every call you make sends ripples through the arena, and if you make the wrong call, it could be your last. The crowd is silent, waiting for your decision. This is it, the moment of truth. You blow your whistle. The game continues. And just like that, you're part of something much bigger than yourself. The gods are watching, the players are playing, and you, the humble referee, are the one holding it all together. But remember, this is no ordinary game. This is the Maya ball game, where every call could be your last, and every game could be a battle for your life. Section 2. The game is far from over, but the pressure is starting to mount. You can feel it now, can't you? The weight of the gods' eyes on you, the unblinking stares of the crowd, the sharp whispers traveling like lightning through the spectators. You're not just a referee anymore. You're a player in this grand game of life and death, where the rules are as unpredictable as the fate of the players on the court. The ball flies through the air again, but this time something feels different. The pace is faster, the stakes are higher. One misstep, and you could easily be caught up in the madness. You watch as one of the players hurls his body through the air, his elbow connecting with the rubber ball with a force that leaves you cringing. Was it a legal hit? Or is he taking things too far? You hold your breath. You can feel the tension in your bones. The crowd waits, their eyes locked on you, and they expect you to make the right call. The trouble is, you can't really tell if that was a foul. Not in the heat of the moment. The rules of the game are confusing at best, especially when you consider that no one has bothered to write them down. The game was passed down through generations in whispers and rituals, and no one really knows if the player's elbow was supposed to make contact with the ball in that particular way. The truth is, the rules might as well be written in the stars for how little sense they make sometimes. You've been chosen as the referee not only because of your status or your ability to stay calm under pressure, but because you have something most others don't: neutrality. A neutrality that, in theory, should give you the power to judge without bias. But there's a problem. In the world of the Maya, nothing is truly neutral. Even as you stand there, your decisions carry the weight of politics, religion, and power. You're the one who gets to decide whether one team wins or loses, but those decisions could easily lead to a shift in power, and not just within the game. The gods and the players aren't the only ones watching you. Powerful individuals with much to gain from this match are paying close attention as well. A misjudgment here could make you a hero, or it could make you a sacrificial offering. The gods, after all, are fickle. In their eyes, a wrong decision could be seen as an omen, something that demands appeasing. And in this case, appeasing doesn't mean a nice apology. It means blood. The ancient Maya believed that the outcome of the game, as well as the outcome of any significant event in their culture, was deeply tied to the favor of the gods. If you mess up, it could lead to their wrath, and if they decide you're the cause of imbalance, you'll pay the price. But you can't let that pressure get to you. You need to stay sharp, stay neutral. So you blow the whistle, calling the play to a stop. The players, sweaty and exhausted, wait for your judgment. They might be ready to scream at you. They might even want to fight you. But they're powerless without your decision. And you know that all too well. As you take a deep breath, it's time to make the call. You hesitate. The whole crowd is holding its breath. One player glares at you, his eyes seething with frustration. The other looks relieved, like he's just dodged a bullet. Your heart races, but you force yourself to remain calm. This is just a moment. This is just another decision. Your whistle sounds, sharp and clear in the tense air. You made your call, and the game continues. The crowd erupts, some cheer, some groan, but you don't flinch. You realize then that being a referee in this game isn't just about enforcing rules. It's about balancing power, navigating a web of politics, and knowing when to bend a rule here or there to keep the peace. Every call is more than just a decision about a ball. It's about understanding the power dynamics at play, the sacrifices that might need to be made, and the expectations of the gods that hang heavy in the air. One thing you learn very quickly is that in this game, no one ever truly knows what will happen next. One minute you're watching the ball soar across the court. The next minute a player crashes to the ground in an acrobatic tumble. The ball bounces off a stone ring. Did it go through? You didn't see. You weren't sure. But the crowd knows. They saw. And now, they're waiting for you to make the call. The problem is you're human. And in this world of gods and men, you're expected to make decisions that are beyond human. You've been chosen for your ability to rise above, to be that neutral force in the middle of the chaos. But as you take in the scene before you, you realize how much is riding on this moment. It's not just a game of rubber balls and stone hoops. It's a game of life, of political intrigue, of religious sacrifice. And it's all on you now. The players stand there, eyes fixed on you, but in that moment, you can't help but feel the true weight of your position. You're not just refereeing a game. You're walking a tightrope between life and death, between divine favor and divine wrath. One false move and it's all over. But for now, you breathe. You blow your whistle. You raise your hand, signaling the next play. The game moves on, and for just a moment, the pressure eases. Section 3. You take your position again, eyes scanning the court, your heartbeat slowing a fraction, but the tension is still thick. The game has picked up momentum now. The players moving with a precision and intensity that borders on the supernatural. You can feel it, the crackling energy of the crowd, the anticipation hanging in the air, and your every decision carrying the weight of not just the game, but the very balance of the universe itself. The ball flies high, hitting the stone wall with a thud that echoes through the arena. You flinch instinctively. The crowd reacts in an almost synchronized gasp, eyes locked on you, waiting for your signal. The players don't even look at each other. Their focus is on you now, as if they know the game is in your hands. You could blow the whistle, call a foul, and shift the course of this game in an instant. You could be the hero, or you could be the villain, depending on which way the wind blows. And in this arena, the wind doesn't care about you. It only cares about who's winning. A ball bounces off the stone court with such force that it feels like it's calling for judgment. You squint. Was it a legal move? Did the player use his hip in the right way? A split second passes, but it feels like an eternity. The game is still moving fast. The players are quick, too quick for comfort, honestly. You can barely keep up. One of them trips, falls forward, and rolls to his feet like a wild animal. Was that an accident, or was it an intentional move? Your mind races. Now comes the tricky part. You have to decide whether or not to call the play. The crowd is silent. It's that kind of silence that tells you they're all holding their breath, waiting for you to make your call. If you make the wrong call, you'll be the one everyone blames. Your judgment could ignite a riot, or worse, bring the wrath of the gods down on the entire arena. It's a job that carries consequences, but you have no choice but to keep moving forward, to keep doing what you're trained for. You take a step forward, feeling the weight of every spectator's gaze on you. They think they know what's coming next, but they don't. They don't know the rules the way you do, the secret, unspoken truths that make or break a game. What looks like a simple play to them could mean something entirely different in the eyes of the gods. You raise your hand, and for a moment, you hesitate. You're no longer sure if it's the right call. You wish you could consult someone, anyone, but you're alone in this. You glance at the players, exhausted, covered in sweat, their eyes pleading for a fair chance. One of them locks eyes with you for just a moment. You see the fear in his eyes, but there's something else there, too. A silent plea for you to decide correctly, for you to give them the victory. You breathe, trying to steady yourself. Then you hear it, the whisper in the crowd. You don't know if it's a prayer or a threat. You can't tell anymore. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you've been given a chance to make your mark. You blow the whistle, and in that sound, everything changes. The game pauses. The air around you shifts. The players react. Some nod. Some stare in disbelief. But the game goes on as it must. You made the call, and now, for better or for worse, the gods will judge if it was the right one. You wish you could say you were just a spectator, but you're not. You're a part of the game. Your decisions ripple through the arena like waves crashing against the shore, carrying with them the weight of fate itself. But here's the kicker. You're not just officiating this game. You're part of a bigger plan, a cosmic struggle between life, death, and power. The ball court, the players, the spectators, they're all part of a larger picture. The game is about more than just winning or losing. It's about appeasing the gods. It's about ensuring that the cosmic balance is maintained, that the cycles of nature continue undisturbed. You are more than a referee. You are a conduit for divine will. That might sound grand, but the reality is you're just a mortal man or woman standing in the middle of a game you can never truly control. The Maya believed that the ballgame was a reenactment of the battle between day and night, life and death. The losers weren't just defeated, they were sacrificed. In the eyes of the gods, a victory meant the continuation of the world. A loss? It meant the potential destruction of everything. And as the referee, you stand at the center of that cosmic game. You can only hope that your decisions will help tip the scales toward balance, toward life and not death. As the game presses on, your mind wanders for just a split second. You think about the men and women who have stood where you stand, who have made the same decisions, felt the same pressures. What did they think in those moments of hesitation? What did they feel when they knew they might be choosing who lives and who dies, not just in the game, but in the grand scheme of the universe? The game continues, and with it, the pressure mounts. You can't stop it now. You made your call. The gods are listening. The players are playing. And you're stuck somewhere in the middle, trying to hold everything together. The game isn't just about the ball. It's about balance, politics, religion, and fate. And you, the referee, have just blown the whistle on destiny. You can feel the weight of the game even more now, the air thick with the anticipation of the crowd. The game is still intense, but you, the referee, are starting to see the cracks beneath the surface. The subtle tension building as the players eye each other, knowing that their fate, their very survival, is in your hands. Every time you blow your whistle, the entire arena holds its breath, wondering if they'll see the end of the match or if they'll witness something darker unfold. The players are tired, their muscles sore from hours of relentless effort. Yet they keep pushing, keep running, keep diving for that ball like their lives depend on it. And in a way, they do. The Maya Ballgame wasn't just about winning. It was about power, and power meant survival. The players on the court might have been vying for glory, but they were also playing for something far bigger than themselves. The gods, the rulers, the people, they all had stakes in the outcome. You've seen this before. The desperation in the eyes of the players, the way they fight not just for victory, but for their place in this world. You're reminded of how little separates the winners from the losers in this brutal game. A single call could change the entire course of their lives. A single moment could send one player to the heights of power and the other into the darkness of sacrifice. And you, the referee, have the power to determine who lives and who dies. You blow your whistle again, signaling a foul. It's a clear call this time. No ambiguity, no doubt in your mind. But the player who committed the foul looks at you like you've just sentenced him to death. He's panting, sweat dripping from his brow, his eyes wild with panic. He steps toward you, his expression shifting between frustration and fear, as if he wants to argue with you, to challenge your decision. But he knows better. He can't challenge you. Not in front of the crowd, not in front of the gods. The tension builds as you wait for his reaction. The entire arena is watching, the eyes of hundreds, maybe thousands, focus solely on you in your next move. It's in moments like these that you can feel the gods watching, feel their breath on your neck, feel the weight of their judgment hanging heavy in the air. The player bows his head, submitting to your call, and the game continues. But for a second, you're not sure if it's your decision he's bowing to, or the invisible forces that govern this world, forces you can't control. As the game progresses, you start to realize something. There's no real escape from this pressure. It's not just about officiating a sport. It's about survival in a world where everything is a power struggle. The ball game is a microcosm of the larger society, a place where decisions are made quickly, where alliances form and break, where life and death are determined by the smallest of movements. And as the referee, you're the one who holds it all together, or who could very easily let it all fall apart. You glance at the crowd. Their faces are a mix of anticipation and curiosity, and you can feel the weight of their expectations bearing down on you. They are all watching, waiting for you to make the right call. They don't understand what you're going through, the pressure that weighs on your every decision. They don't see how hard it is to be impartial in a game like this. They don't know the cost of getting it wrong, but you do. And that knowledge sits heavy in your chest, making every decision feel like a gamble. The game drags on, the players continuing to fight for every point, for every advantage. You can see their exhaustion, their pain, but they push through it, driven by the knowledge that their survival depends on the outcome. For some, winning means power. For others, it's just a chance to live another day. The intensity is palpable, and you feel yourself getting swept up in it. You try to remain neutral, try to keep the emotions at bay, but it's hard. It's hard when you know that one wrong call could change everything, not just for the players, but for you as well. You take a deep breath, steadying yourself as the game continues. You are no longer just a spectator. You are in this, fully immersed in the drama unfolding before you. Every second, every movement feels like it could be the one that decides everything. You blow your whistle again, and once more, the tension breaks. The game continues, but the stakes are only rising. It's at moments like this, in the middle of the chaos, that you start to question the nature of your role in all of this. Are you really just a referee? Or are you part of the game itself, caught in the web of power and politics? Your decisions shaping the course of history? The more you think about it, the more you realize there is no such thing as neutrality in a game like this. You're just as much a part of the drama as the players are. You are in the middle of it all, a mere mortal holding the fate of others in your hands. You glance at the stone rings that mark the goals of the game. They seem so distant, so unreachable. And yet, in this world, they represent everything. The gods, the power, the sacrifice. As a referee, you're more than just a judge of the game. You're a judge of the gods. Your decisions matter. Your calls will echo through history, just like the actions of the players on the court. And the gods will remember. They will always remember. But as the game continues and the pressure builds, you start to wonder, who will remember you? Will your calls be remembered with reverence or with regret? Will you be the one who shaped the course of history? Or will you be forgotten? Just another referee lost to time? For now, you keep your head down, your eyes focused, and your whistle ready. There's still a game to finish, still decisions to be made, and still a crowd waiting for you to make the next call. You can feel the game's intensity shifting again. The pace is picking up, and the players are more desperate now, their bodies nearly breaking under the strain. You've been officiating for what feels like hours, but the sun has barely shifted in the sky. The game, it seems, has taken on a life of its own. And you're right in the thick of it, holding it together with every call you make, every second you survive under the watchful eyes of the gods and the crowd. But let's be real for a second. You're tired. No one tells you how draining it is to be the one making the decisions, especially when those decisions could lead to life or death. You've made countless calls by now, each one more important than the last, and it's starting to feel like a blur. The whistle in your hand has become an extension of your own will, your fingers clutching it like a lifeline. It's at this point that you realize just how much is at stake. You're not just controlling the flow of the game anymore. You're controlling the fate of the players. One wrong decision, one slip of judgment, and it could all come crashing down. The crowd knows it too. Their eyes are trained on you. Every move scrutinized, every pause in your whistle a potential spark for chaos. The game is almost over. You can feel it in the air, the final moments, the push for victory, the desperation in every move the players make. But there's still one more play left. One more moment where everything could change. As the ball is passed from player to player, the arena holds its breath. The gods, it seems, are waiting for this final crucial call. And you, as always, are caught in the middle. You watch as the players charge toward the stone rings, their bodies weaving and dodging in a blur of movement. One of them leaps toward the hoop with all the force he has left, but in his desperation, his elbow jabs another player in the ribs. It's a clear foul, but as you see the pain on the player's face, your heart sinks. This is it. This is the moment when everything could change. You blow your whistle. The sound is sharp, cutting through the air like a knife. The crowd goes silent. The player who committed the foul looks up at you, his eyes wide with disbelief. He knows what this means. The game is over for him. And it could be over for you, too. The crowd reacts as expected. Half cheer, half groan, but all eyes are still on you. It's not just about the call anymore. It's about what happens next. What will the gods think of your decision? Will they be pleased with your judgment? Or will they demand retribution for a perceived slight? You hesitate for just a moment, and in that split second, you feel the weight of every call you made up until now. They all lead to this moment, the final call, the one that will seal the fate of the players and possibly your own. You make your decision. The game is over, and the winner is clear. But you don't feel relief. Not yet. You can't. Not until you see what happens next. The player who committed the foul slumps his shoulders defeated. He knows what this means. For him, it's over. But what about you? What does this call mean for you? The referee, the one who stood in the middle of this chaotic dance of power and politics. Will the gods be pleased? Or will you, too, become a sacrifice for the cosmic balance? As the crowd erupts in their reactions, you try to stay focused. The game might be over, but the consequences of your actions are just beginning to unfold. The gods, the rulers, the people, they're all watching, waiting to see if you've made the right call. You wonder, for a moment, if this is how it always ends. The pressure, the judgment, the fear of what's to come. You step back, letting the final moments of the game play out. The players are exhausted, their bodies battered, but you're still standing. You've made it through this far. But as you watch the final rites being prepared, because let's be honest, in this game, there's always a ritual to end it. You can't shake the feeling that the next game is just around the corner. Another opportunity to make a choice. Another chance to decide who lives and who dies. And yet, there's still a part of you that's glad it's over. For now. But deep down, you know it's never really over. Not for you. Not for anyone in this game. The Maya Ballgame is just one battle in an eternal war of power, politics, and religion. And you're just one more pawn in a game that's been played for centuries. Your decisions, your calls, your fate, they're all part of a much larger picture. A picture that you can't fully comprehend, no matter how many games you officiate. The arena begins to empty, and the players file off the court, their heads down, their bodies aching. But you stay there, watching. You're not ready to leave just yet. The weight of what you've done still hangs heavy in the air. The gods are watching. The people are murmuring. And you can't help but wonder, was it the right call? As the last echoes of the game fade away, you finally exhale. The pressure, the tension, the fear, all of it slowly slips away. You've made it through another game. But at what cost? And as you walk off the court, you can't help but think, what's next? What's the price of survival in a game like this? You've survived another game, another round of decisions that could have cost you everything. But the relief you feel is fleeting. The Maya Ballgame isn't like any sport you've experienced before. It's not just a game. It's a high-stakes ritual that tests not only the players but you, the one who has to make sense of the chaos unfolding before you. And just as soon as you think you've caught your breath, the game starts to feel like it's already calling you back. The crowd is dispersing now, but there's no time to relax. The players are still buzzing with energy, though some of them walk off the court hunched over, their bodies showing the toll of the contest. You watch them closely, wondering if the gods will grant them the mercy of survival or if they'll demand a blood sacrifice. You know all too well that the gods never leave their games unfinished. And even though your role is done for the moment, you can't shake the feeling that something bigger, something darker, is still unfolding in the shadows. As the arena begins to clear, you can't help but feel the weight of what just happened. The game is over, but the decisions you've made, They're just beginning to haunt you. You walk along the stone path that leads away from the court, the crowd's murmurs fading behind you. The quiet is almost as overwhelming as the noise was. Your mind races as you replay the game. Each whistle, each decision, each moment where you had to choose between life and death. Was your call right? Was it the fair one? History will remember these decisions, but will it remember them as mistakes or as victories? The gods are silent for now, but you can feel their watchful eyes still on you. You wonder if this is what it always feels like, this crushing weight of being the one to make the call. As you make your way to the back of the arena, a feeling of uncertainty creeps in. You've lived through this game, but for how long? You're a part of this world, a small but vital piece of a much larger puzzle. The truth is, you don't know what will happen tomorrow. What if you're chosen again? What if the gods demand your sacrifice? What if the next call you make is the one that seals your fate? The Maya ballgame, for all its brutality and thrill, isn't just about the players on the field. It's about power, about survival, and about the fragile balance between life and death. You realize this as you stop walking and look out across the courtyard. The stone rings, the arena, the walls. They all seem to blur into one unified whole. This is the world you're in now. There's no easy exit. There's no retreat. The game isn't over for anyone. Not really. The gods don't care about endings. They only care about what happens next. And you, the referee, are left to face the next game, the next decision, with the knowledge that no one is safe from their reach. You've been a part of something bigger than yourself. But now, as the quiet surrounds you, you realize how little control you truly have. It's humbling, really. As you stand there, lost in thought, you notice the other referees nearby. They too are walking in silence. It's a shared bond, an unspoken understanding of the weight that comes with the job. You wonder if they too question the choices they've made. You wonder if they ever feel like it's all just too much. Because here in the shadow of the gods, it's not just about doing the job. It's about surviving it. You catch a glimpse of one of the players being led away, his head hung low. The gods have made their judgment. For him, the game is over. For you, it's never really over. You'll stand in that arena again, the whistle in your hand, and make the call. You'll be the one who decides who lives and who dies, who wins and who loses, all while standing on the precipice of your own fate. But for now, the game is over. The players leave the court, the crowd fades into the night, and you find yourself alone with your thoughts. You stand in the emptiness of the arena, feeling both the relief of survival and the weight of what you've just witnessed. The game is over, but the gods have not yet spoken. Their judgment is inevitable, and you're part of it. The winds pick up, and the sky darkens as night falls over the arena. You think about the future. You think about the next game. And, deep down, that nothing in this world is ever truly over. Not for the players, not for the gods, and certainly not for you, the referee. You look out across the court once more, your eyes scanning the stone rings in the distance. They seem to mock you in their silence. The gods will make their demands, as they always do. And you, standing here, must be ready to answer them. But not today. Today, you take a breath. You step away from the court, the sounds of the crowd still faintly echoing in your mind. For now, the game is done. But tomorrow, you'll be back. The gods are waiting. The night is surprisingly quiet, almost peaceful. As you walk away from the arena, your footsteps echoing softly against the stone paths. The weight of the day of the game begins to settle on your shoulders. You survived this time, but the nagging thought lingers in the back of your mind. What about next time? What happens when the game resumes? Will you be ready for the intensity, for the impossible decisions? You don't know. And that's the scariest part. The world around you is dimly lit by flickering torches as the last of the players file off into the shadows. You can hear their murmurs as they head to the chambers, most likely to rest, or to prepare themselves for the inevitable consequences of their actions. Some will sleep easy, knowing they've survived another match. Others will carry the burden of their performance like a stone in their chest, knowing they'll be judged by the gods. You, however, won't have that luxury. As the referee, there's no such thing as simply going home. You aren't just a neutral observer. You're a key player in this whole system, a representative of the gods themselves. You've walked through the battlefield, made your calls, and now you must carry the weight of the outcomes. It's hard to explain, but it's something you feel deeply. When you're standing there, on that court, making the call, there's a strange mixture of responsibility and power. A power that seems so fleeting. A responsibility that never truly ends. You make your way down the stone corridors toward your quarters, your mind still reeling from the chaos of the day. How many times did you hesitate? How many times did you feel your heart racing, wondering if you were making the right decision? It's a strange thing, knowing you control the game, yet you have no control over your own fate. Inside your quarters, the flickering light of a single torch casts shadows on the walls, and you sink into the nearest chair. The room is quiet, save for the distant sounds of the palace settling for the night. It's a small, unassuming space, just big enough for you to rest and prepare for whatever comes next. But right now, there's nothing. No game, no crowd, no pressure. It's just you, alone with your thoughts. For a moment, you allow yourself to breathe, to forget about the game and the gods, to simply exist without the burden of decisions pressing down on you. But even in the silence, you know this peace won't last. It never does. The Maya didn't just play the ball game for entertainment. No, it was a ritual of immense importance, and in their eyes, you, the referee, were as integral to the ceremony as the players. You had to maintain order, control the flow, and ultimately ensure that the gods were appeased. It's a heavy task, and one that doesn't come with breaks or vacation days. You're reminded of the moments in the game when you had to make those quick calls. It's easy to say that you were neutral, but were you really? Every decision, every movement was weighed by the unseen forces that hovered just above. There were no clear answers, no instruction manual. You just had to make the best call you could, knowing that the consequences could change everything. Not just for the players, but for you too. As you sit there in the quiet of your quarters, you realize how little control you actually have over the situation. In the end, it's the gods who decide. And whether or not you made the right call today will be measured by their judgment, not yours. The gods. They're the ones you serve, the ones you're supposed to represent. They don't care about your hesitation, your doubts, your fears. They demand balance, and they demand it now. In their eyes, there is no room for indecision. The gods don't hesitate. They act, and they expect you to do the same. You shake your head, trying to clear the lingering thoughts of the game. It's over, you remind yourself. For now. But that feeling, the unease, the knowledge that the next game is just around the corner, doesn't go away. The worst part is that the game never truly ends. Sure, you've officiated the match, you've made your calls, but the gods are watching. The players will keep coming, and the stakes will keep rising. The next match could be even worse. You don't know what the gods have planned, but you do know that you'll be called back to the court eventually. And when you are, you'll have to make those impossible decisions again. It's a vicious cycle. The power, the pressure, the endless judgment. The fear that you might get it wrong. But you're not allowed to show it. You have to be steadfast, unwavering. Because if the gods see weakness in you, they'll make you pay the price. You lie back on the bed, staring at the ceiling, try to push all these thoughts aside. You close your eyes for a moment, but it's useless. The game is still there, in your mind, in your soul, running through you like an endless loop. Every decision you make, every call you blow your whistle for, could be your last. And the gods will be the ones to decide if you've chosen wisely. The night feels heavy, but you know it's just a temporary reprieve. The world keeps spinning, and soon enough, you'll be back in the arena, making calls, controlling fate, and playing the game. Until then, you try to sleep. You try to forget. But it's impossible. Tomorrow, the gods will be watching, and you'll be ready, or at least you hope you will be. The sun rises over the horizon, casting long shadows across the arena. The new day feels different, heavier, maybe, but with a sense of inevitability. The world doesn't stop for you to catch your breath. The Maya Ballgame isn't waiting for you to rest. It's a constant cycle, a relentless force that keeps moving, pulling everyone along with it, whether they're ready or not. And today, it's your turn again. You find yourself walking back to the arena, your footsteps echoing in the quiet morning air. The city is already waking up. The sounds of merchants setting up their stalls and the chatter of workers filling the streets. But you have a different kind of responsibility. The rest of the world may be going about their day, but you're about to step back into the center of a game that determines life and death. You can't afford to think about anything else. Your heart beats a little faster as you near the ball court. You see the players gathering, stretching, preparing for the match. Their eyes are sharp, their bodies ready. They know what's at stake. They know that every movement, every play could be their last. And you know it too. It's your job to keep the balance, to make the calls that will either send them to victory or into the gods' favor through sacrifice. It's a strange feeling standing here. As the players prepare, you watch them carefully, taking in every tiny detail. The way their muscles tighten, the flicker of determination in their eyes, the subtle glances exchanged between teammates. It's like a dance, this game, full of hidden meanings and secret messages. But it's not just the players you're watching. It's the crowd too. Their energy fills the air, a mixture of hope, excitement, and fear. Every single person in that crowd is hanging on your every move, waiting for you to decide who wins and who falls. As you step onto the court, the players' eyes immediately shift to you. They've been waiting for you to arrive, to signal the beginning of the game. They don't care about the gods right now. They don't care about anything except the game. And you, the referee, because you hold the power. In this moment, you are the judge, the jury, and the executioner. Every single player on that court depends on you. You blow your whistle, and the game begins. The ball is passed swiftly, the players moving like well-oiled machines. They dodge, leap, and strike, their bodies working in perfect synchrony. But as you watch, your mind can't help but race back to the previous games, to the decisions you made, to the consequences that followed. You feel the weight of those calls on your shoulders. What if you're wrong today? What if you misjudge a play, a movement, a foul? You can't afford to be wrong. Not in this game. The gods are watching, and they are not forgiving. You try to push these thoughts aside as you focus on the game unfolding before you. The ball bounces high, a player leaping to keep it in play, twisting his body in a way that seems almost impossible. You blink. Was that legal? Was it an intentional foul? You blow the whistle. The game pauses. The crowd is silent, waiting for your call. You can feel their eyes on you, the tension building. This is your moment to make a decision that could change the outcome. You glance at the player who committed the foul. His expression is a mixture of shock and guilt. He knows what this means. He knows he's just put his life in your hands. You hesitate for just a moment. The pressure is unbearable. You know that if you make the wrong call, the consequences will be dire, not just for the player, but for you as well. But there's no time for doubt. You raise your hand, signaling the penalty. The game moves on, but the air has shifted. The players are moving more cautiously now, their steps more calculated. They know that one misstep, one mistake, could cost them everything. The tension in the arena is palpable. The gods' favor is no longer a given. In this moment, the gods are waiting, and so are you. You can feel their presence looming over the court, waiting to see if you'll tip the balance in their favor. You blow your whistle again, and the game continues. It's like walking on a tightrope. Every decision you make could send someone to the gods' embrace, and you're the one who has to choose. The responsibility weighs on you, but you can't show it. Not here, not in front of the crowd. As the game progresses, the players become more desperate. They're pushing their bodies to the limit, their movements erratic as they fight for every point. The ball bounces wildly from side to side, sometimes flying through the air with such force that it almost seems like it could tear the sky itself. The crowd roars, their energy building, and you feel the pressure intensify. You're not just managing a game, you're managing the fate of these players. Every call you make is a thread in the tapestry of their lives, and you are the weaver. You blow the whistle once more, signaling a timeout. The players look to you, exhausted but eager. The gods have not yet spoken. It's up to you now. The weight of your role is clearer than ever. It's not just about keeping the game fair. It's about understanding the delicate balance between life and death, between victory and sacrifice. You step off the court for a moment, taking a breath, trying to center yourself. The weight of the gods' gaze is almost suffocating, but you know this is your job. This is your responsibility. No one else can do it. You are the referee. You are the one who decides who lives and who dies, who wins and who loses. The players trust you, the crowd trusts you, and most importantly, the gods trust you. The game continues, and with it, the dance of fate. You step back onto the court, your whistle ready, your heart steady. Another call, another moment. The game never stops. You're starting to realize something crucial. The ball game isn't just a physical contest. It's an emotional and spiritual war, one that drags you in with every call, every movement. You might think that after all these games, after all the decisions you've made, you get used to it. But the truth is, the weight of each moment only grows heavier as the game progresses. And it never gets easier. The crowd's energy shifts again, becoming more unpredictable. The sound of their voices, the cheers, the gasps, all of it swirls around you like a storm. But this time, it's different. The players have taken it to the next level, their desperation hanging in the air like smoke. Their bodies are bruised, but they keep pushing forward. They're no longer just playing for glory. They're playing for survival. And you, the referee, are the one who stands at the center of it all, holding the thread that could snap any moment. You blow the whistle again. A foul. But this time it's not as clear-cut. The player who committed the violation looks at you with wide eyes, pleading silently for you to understand. His chest rises and falls with every breath, his face streaked with sweat and dirt. He's afraid. He's terrified of what will happen next. You see it in his eyes, but there's nothing you can do. You can't let sympathy cloud your judgment. Not now. Not ever. The crowd is quiet for a split second. You know what's coming next. The gasps, the murmurs, the angry shouts. They don't see the game the way you do. To them, it's a contest. To you, it's a balancing act between life and death. The gods are watching, and they won't be pleased if you falter. You take a deep breath and make your decision. The game must go on. The tension between you and the player is palpable. It's an uncomfortable silence that stretches out too long, each second loaded with meaning. And then, the player lowers his gaze, acknowledging his fate. It's a quiet surrender, and yet there's something in it that stirs something deep inside you. You blow your whistle once more, signaling the penalty. The game resumes, but you know that something's changed. It's in the way the players are moving now, in the way they watch you. The dynamic has shifted. You can feel it in your bones. The gods are testing you, pushing you to your limits. You're no longer just a referee. You're a participant in this cosmic dance. Your every move scrutinized by forces far beyond your control. The players are tired, their movements growing sluggish, their breaths labored. They've been at this for so long now that it feels like their bodies are no longer their own. But they fight on. And you, standing there in the center of it all, can't help but feel the same weariness settling into your own bones. The game has become something more than you expected. It's not just about calls and penalties. It's not just about managing the play. It's about survival. Every second that passes, every decision you make, takes you deeper into a world where the stakes are higher than you ever imagined. And you begin to wonder, what would happen if you made the wrong call? What if you misjudged a play, or worse, allowed a mistake to go unpunished? Would the gods turn their eyes away from you, or would they exact their wrath? You don't have time to dwell on those thoughts. The ball bounces in front of you again, and without thinking, you step forward, ready to make the next call. The game moves faster now, the players pushing themselves to the edge. You blow your whistle as another foul is committed, but this time, it's different. You know it. The crowd knows it. Even the gods know it. The player who committed the foul looks at you for a moment, his expression unreadable. But there's a flicker in his eyes, a realization that his fate is sealed. And then, just as quickly it's gone, he lowers his gaze, resigning himself to whatever comes next. The arena falls into a silence that's so thick you can feel it pressing against your chest. The weight of the moment is suffocating. You stand there, still, the weight of every decision you've ever made sitting heavily in the pit of your stomach. You realize suddenly that this game, this ritual, isn't about the rules. It's about something far more primal. Power, control, life and death. And the gods are watching, always watching, to see if you can keep that balance. With a final, decisive blow of your whistle, you signal the end of the match. The crowd erupts into cheers or boos, depending on who they were rooting for, but you hardly notice. You're caught up in something much deeper. The game is over, but the aftermath lingers. You feel the exhaustion in your muscles, the weight of the responsibility in your chest. And though the players walk off the court, defeated or victorious, you remain. You're the one who has to live with the consequences. But that's the job, isn't it? You're the one who makes the calls. You're the one who holds the balance. And just like every time before, you'll be called back. The gods will demand their game, and you'll be ready, or at least you'll try to be. As the last of the players leave the court, you glance at the stone rings once more. They seem to mock you in their stillness. The game may be over, but the gods aren't done, and neither are you. The game is over, but but you're not free. No one who stands in your shoes ever is. The arena is slowly emptying, the sound of footsteps fading away as the crowd disperses, leaving you alone with your thoughts. The players head toward the chambers to nurse their wounds, while you linger on the court, feeling the weight of every decision, every call pressing down on your shoulders. The god's gaze is still heavy, even though the game has ended. You can almost feel it, the expectation, the pressure, the knowledge that your every move is scrutinized by forces beyond your comprehension. As you walk across the stone court, you try to shake off the feeling, but it's useless. The gods don't just fade into the background once the whistle blows. They linger, watching, waiting to see if you've done your duty. It's not an easy thing to be a referee in this game. The stakes are so much higher than any modern sport. This isn't just about a trophy or a championship. It's about life itself. The game is a ritual, and in the eyes of the gods, it's sacred. Your decisions, whether you want them to or not, carry the weight of a civilization's beliefs, the balance of their world. One wrong call, and the gods might not look kindly on you. But you can't dwell on that. You have to keep moving forward. You pause at the edge of the court, looking up at the stone rings, those towering symbols of the gods, where victory and death both hang in the balance. You've seen players aim for them, fight for them, sacrifice everything for them. And you've been there on the other side, making the calls that determine who lives and who dies. And as you stand here now, after the game is over, you realize something: it never truly ends. The game is cyclical, endless. Every time you blow the whistle, every time you step onto that court, you're playing the same game that's been played for centuries. The gods are always watching, and the players are always fighting for their lives. You're a part of that, whether you want to be or not. The pressure, the responsibility, it's a burden you can never escape. But then, it's also something you've chosen. No one forced you to be here. You're the one who raised your hand to officiate, to be the one who decides the fate of others. You chose this life, and now there's no going back. But there's a strange thing about this life. The longer you're in it, the more it starts to feel like a performance. You're not just refereeing a game anymore. You're performing for the gods, for the players, for the crowd. They expect you to be impartial, to be steadfast, to make the right call every time. And when you do, they cheer. But when you don't, they turn on you. The gods aren't forgiving. There's no room for mistakes in this game. You can't afford to hesitate, to question yourself, to wonder if you made the right call. Once the whistle blows, it's too late. You walk off the court, your footsteps slow, each one heavy with the knowledge of what's just transpired. The game is done, but it's not over. It never truly ends. You'll be back again. The gods will demand it. The players will be there, fighting for their lives, and you'll be the one to decide who lives and who dies. It's not just a game, it's a responsibility, and it's one that you'll carry with you every time you step onto that court. You reach the outer gates of the arena, the sounds of the city growing louder as you leave the sacred space behind. The world outside is bustling, alive with noise and movement, but for you, it's all a blur. The only thing that matters is the game, the gods, the players, and your role in all of it. The game never ends. It just keeps going over and over, each time with higher stakes, each time with more at risk. You're a part of something much bigger than yourself. You always have been, and no matter how much you want to escape, to be free of the weight of the game, you can't. The gods have claimed you. The ballgame has claimed you. And you'll always be back. You'll always be called to make the decisions, to stand in the center of it all and decide the fate of others. But for now, the game is over. For today, you can rest. The gods may wait for the next round, but you've earned a moment of peace, no matter how brief it may be. You take a deep breath, trying to let the silence of the city settle around you. And though you know the pressure will start again soon, for now, just for now, you allow yourself a fleeting moment of peace. Tomorrow, the game will begin again, and you, the referee, will be ready. But for now, there's only silence and the faint memory of the god's eyes, watching. You wake to the sound of the city stirring, the soft hum of life pushing you forward. The game is never truly over, is it? As you step outside your quarters, you can already feel the weight of it again. The tension, the responsibility, the knowledge that at any given moment, you might be called back to the arena. It's a strange feeling, knowing that no matter how hard you try to escape it, the game will always find its way back into your life. It's as if you're tethered to it by invisible strings, and no matter how far you walk, those strings never loosen. The air is thick with the promise of something to come. The players, though resting now, are already preparing in their own way. Their bodies might be sore, bruised, but their minds are sharp. They know that the game is a part of them now, just like it's a part of you. They'll step back into that arena without hesitation, ready to sacrifice everything once again. For what? Glory? Power? Survival? You don't know. You can't know. But one thing is certain. The game doesn't care. It doesn't care why they play, and it doesn't care why you officiate. It simply is. You move through the city, feeling its pulse beneath your feet, watching as life goes on around you. But it's hard to forget the court, the ball, the gods. All of it lingers in your mind, like a faint echo you can't shake. You know you'll be back there soon, back in the center of it all, standing between the players and their fates, making decisions that carry weight beyond measure. The question is, how long will you be able to carry that burden? How long before the pressure cracks you? As you make your way through the streets, you pass by the grand temple, where the gods are said to reside. You can't help but glance up at the towering structure. You've been there before, many times. You've stood before the priests, received their blessings, or perhaps their warnings. In the temple, everything feels so final, so absolute. The gods are there, watching, observing, waiting for you to fulfill your role. It's humbling, terrifying even. And as you look up at the temple, you realize the gods aren't just watching the game. They're watching you. The thought makes you uneasy, but you push it aside. There's no time for doubt. There's no time for fear. The game is waiting. The gods are waiting. The players are waiting. You can't afford to show weakness now. You arrive at the arena once more, and this time, the air feels even heavier. The court is silent, empty, as if it's holding its breath, waiting for the next round. The stone rings, so solid, so imposing, stand before you like ancient sentinels, their silent gaze as powerful as it's ever been. You approach the court, and for a moment, it feels like everything has come full circle. You see the players begin to gather in the distance. They're not just stretching anymore. They're getting into position, their movements more deliberate, their faces set with determination. They know the stakes. You know the stakes. And yet, as you stand there, your thoughts begin to swirl. What's it like for them, the players? They fight. They risk everything for a fleeting moment of victory. But they don't know what it's like to be you. To be the one standing on the line between life and death. The one holding the power of fate in your hands. You wonder how they cope with the pressure. How they manage to push through the physical toll, knowing that one wrong move could end their lives. You shake your head, trying to clear the thoughts. This isn't the time for self-pity or doubt. The game will start soon, and your job is clear. You can't let anything distract you. You walk to the center of the court, and the players turn their eyes toward you. They're ready, and so are you. The first whistle blows. The game begins. You raise your hand, signaling the start, and immediately the players are on the move, their bodies twisting and turning with practiced precision. You follow every movement with your eyes, every twist of the ball, every shift in the players' positions. You know the game. You know what to look for. But that doesn't mean the pressure is any less intense. As you make your first call, a foul, the crowd reacts instantly. Some cheer, some groan, but they all look to you. The gods, the players, the spectators, they all look to you for judgment. It's in this moment that you truly feel the burden of your role. Every whistle you blow, every decision you make affects the course of this game, this ritual, this life and death struggle. You can't make a mistake. You can't hesitate. You're the referee. And in the end, it's your calls that determine whether someone lives or dies. The game continues, fast and brutal. Every second is a new decision, a new moment where you must choose who wins, who falls, who survives, and who becomes an offering to the gods. You can't let the stakes weigh you down. Not now, not here. But even as you officiate with precision, a small voice in your head wonders, what would it be like to just walk away? To leave the court, leave the gods, leave the game behind? It's a fleeting thought, but the temptation is real. But the whistle blows again. And just like that, you're back in it. The game is calling you. The gods are calling you, and you can't escape. You take a deep breath, steadying yourself, and step forward. The game is still moving, and you're still here, still making the decisions, still holding the balance. For now, you're the referee. And for now, the game goes on. The game's rhythm is as relentless as ever. The players are fast, their movements fluid, and every play feels like it could be their last. You're right in the thick of it now, the sweat on your brow matching that of the players as you move from one side of the court to the other, eyes darting from one player to the next. The ball bounces, flies, twists in the air, and each moment demands your full attention. There's no room for error. You can't afford to miss a thing. You blow your whistle again, signaling another foul. The sound slices through the arena like a sharp gust of wind, and for a moment, everything stops. The players freeze, and the crowd's murmurs fill the silence, each spectator holding their breath. You stand there, calm on the surface, but inside, the pressure builds. You know the weight of this moment. You know that this call will shape the rest of the game, and maybe even the rest of the players' lives. The gods are watching. The gods are always watching. You turn to the player who's been called for the foul, his face flushed with frustration and fear. He doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to be the one who loses it all for his team, for himself. You see the way his muscles are tense, the way his hands clench, as if he's willing himself to fight, to argue with you. But he can't. He knows better. In this arena, there's no room for dispute. Not when the gods are in play. Not when the stakes are so high. You raise your hand, signaling the penalty. And just like that, the game resumes, the rhythm undisturbed, the players back in motion. But you can't help but wonder, how do they do it? How do they keep going, knowing that one wrong move could send them to the gods? They fight for victory, yes, but they're also fighting for survival. It's a brutal, endless cycle, one that consumes them, one that consumes you too. The game continues, and you follow the ball with your eyes, tracking every movement, every bounce, every pass. The players are relentless, their bodies showing the toll of the game. But they don't stop. They can't. They're here for more than just the game. They're here for something bigger. Power. glory, survival. The gods demand their sacrifice, and they're willing to give everything to meet that demand. You blow the whistle again, calling another play to a halt. The decision is swift, but inside, you can feel the weight of it. You're not just a referee. You're the one who decides the fate of these men. The gods are counting on you, and you can't afford to let them down. The crowd reacts, some cheering, some groaning, but you don't listen. The game is your focus now. The only thing that matters is the next call, the next decision, the next whistle. You see the players eyeing you now, watching your every move, waiting to see if they'll get the advantage, if they'll be the ones to win this round. But deep down, that victory is just an illusion. In the end, the game isn't about who wins. It's about who survives, who lives to see another day. And you're the one who has to make that choice. The game presses on, faster, harder. The players are starting to show signs of exhaustion. Their muscles ache, their bodies are bruised, but they keep fighting. They push through the pain, through the fatigue, because they know that the gods demand it. And you, standing there, are the one who decides if they'll see the light of another day or if they'll be offered as tribute to the gods. The responsibility is crushing, but you don't have a choice. You've signed up for this, whether you like it or not. As you blow your whistle again, calling another play to a halt, you can feel the tension in the air. The gods' eyes are on you, their silent judgment weighing heavily on your every move. There's no room for error, no room for hesitation. You must make the call, and you must make it now. You look at the player who committed the foul. He's panting, exhausted, his body covered in sweat. But there's something else in his eyes now. Fear, not of losing the game, but of losing his life. And in that moment, you realize something that you hadn't quite understood before. This isn't just about the game. It's about power, yes, but it's also about survival. The players are playing for their lives. And you, the referee, are the one who holds the power to decide whether they live or die. The call is made. The game continues. The crowd roars, but you can't hear it. You're too focused on the next moment, the next decision, the next call. The weight of the gods' gaze presses down on you, and you know that you must keep moving forward. There's no time for doubt. There's no time for fear. You're the referee, and you must make the call. The game is relentless. It doesn't stop, and neither can you. As the game drags on, you begin to notice the subtle shift in the players' attitudes. What started as a fierce, competitive energy has now turned into something darker, something more primal. The players are no longer just trying to win. They're trying to survive. The hits are harder, the movements more desperate. You can see the fear in their eyes now, the dread of knowing that one mistake could be their last. The game is more than just a sport for them. It's a fight for their lives, and you, the referee, are the one who holds the power to determine who lives and who dies. The court seems to stretch on forever. The air grows thicker, heavier with every passing minute. Sweat pours from the players, their bodies growing weaker as the game continues. But they push through it. They have no choice. The gods demand sacrifice, and they're the ones who must give it. There is no stopping now, not for them, and certainly not for you. You blow the whistle again, signaling another foul. The call is quick, almost instinctive at this point, but you can feel the tension rise immediately. The player who committed the foul stares at you, his eyes wide with a mix of exhaustion and fear. He knows what this could mean. The game has gotten personal now. It's not just about the rules anymore. It's about survival. And in this world, survival means everything. You raise your hand to signal the penalty, but as you do, you can't help but feel the weight of the moment. The gods are watching. They always are. Every decision you make, every call you blow your whistle for, sends ripples through the fabric of the game. You're not just officiating a match. You are standing between life and death. The pressure, the responsibility, it's almost unbearable. The player accepts the penalty, his shoulders slumping in defeat. He walks off the court, but you know he's not walking away from the game. He's walking away from a chance at survival. And that thought lingers in your mind as you blow the whistle again, signaling the restart of the game. The crowd's reaction is muted, as if they too understand the gravity of the situation. This isn't just entertainment anymore. This is life laid bare in front of them, in front of you. You watch the players move again, the game resuming with a new sense of urgency. The ball bounces, and every pass feels like it could be the one that shifts the balance. Every step the players take, every inch they gain, could be the difference between victory and death. You see it in their eyes. You feel it in the air. This game is no longer just about glory. It's about survival. The intensity increases. The players are moving faster now, more reckless. You can see them pushing past their limits, their bodies groaning under the strain, but they continue. They have to. The gods won't forgive them if they stop. They know that, just as you know, that each moment is more precious than the last. Every second could be their last. You step closer to the court, your eyes scanning the players, your mind racing through every possible scenario. You know that every call you make could change everything. One wrong decision, one moment of hesitation, and it could cost someone their life. You can feel the God's eyes on you, and you wonder for just a moment, what would happen if you made the wrong call? What if you missed something? What if your judgment wasn't clear? Would they turn on you? Would the gods demand your sacrifice just as they demand the players? Your heart races as the ball bounces across the court again. The game moves faster, the players more aggressive. And then it happens. A player, desperate for the ball, shoves another, a clear foul. The crowd's roar rises instantly, but you don't hesitate. You blow your whistle, sharp and clear. The game comes to a screeching halt. For a moment, everything is still. The players look at you. Their face is a mix of exhaustion and anticipation. The tension in the air is almost tangible. You can feel the weight of the decision pressing down on you. The gods are watching. They always are. You raise your hand to signal the penalty, but in this moment, you realize something. The gods don't care about the rules. They don't care about fairness. All they care about is who survives, who wins, who is worthy of their favor. You can feel the pressure building, suffocating you, but you make the call. You have no choice. The game must go on. You blow the whistle again, signaling the restart. The ball bounces back into play, the players moving with renewed urgency, each one knowing that this could be their last chance. And so, the game continues. The ball bounces, the players collide, the crowd watches, and you, the referee, stand in the middle of it all, making decisions that carry the weight of life and death. You know that no matter what happens next, you'll be back. The gods will always call you back to the court. The game will never end. You take a deep breath, steadying yourself. The gods are waiting. The players are waiting. And you, the referee, are the one who decides who survives. It's almost as though time itself bends when you're standing on the court. The game continues, but it no longer feels like a sequence of moments strung together. Each second lingers, thick with consequence. Your movements feel sluggish, your mind racing through 1,000 possible outcomes with every call, every whistle, every decision. The gods are still watching. You can feel them, and there's no escaping their gaze. The ball bounces, and once again, the players are on the move. But this time, the game feels different. You can feel the tension in the air, palpable and sharp. The players have reached their limits, physically, mentally, emotionally. You can see in the way they move, in the way their shoulders slump with exhaustion. And yet, they continue. The game must go on. The gods will accept nothing less. You blow your whistle again, halting the action. This time, it's a hard decision. A player has crossed a line. He's pushed too far, and you know what that means. The crowd erupts into shouts, some cheering, some groaning. The atmosphere is charged with energy, the eyes of every spectator fixed on you. But there's no turning back. The call is made. The penalty is set. The player who committed the foul looks at you, his eyes wide with disbelief. He knows what's coming. He's seen the penalties. He's seen the sacrifices. And now it's his turn. His face falls, his body slackens, as if he's accepted the inevitable. You raise your hand to signal the penalty, but in that brief moment, you wonder if he's thinking about his family, his future, his life. But then the moment passes. You blow your whistle again, and the game moves forward indifferent to his fate. It's the same for everyone. The game doesn't stop for anyone. Not for you. Not for the players. Not for the gods. It continues, relentless and unforgiving. And you're standing right in the center of it, deciding the fate of men. Deciding who will win and who will fall, who will live and who will die. You are the axis on which everything turns. The ball soars through the air, and you can see the players pushing themselves, their faces etched with a mix of determination and desperation. They're not just fighting for the win anymore. They're fighting to survive. The crowd's energy intensifies, their voices rising and falling with every play, every pass, every strike. It's a roar, a wave of sound that crashes over you, but you stay focused. The gods are watching. The game is everything. You blow the whistle again, a quick, sharp sound that echoes through the arena. Another foul, another decision. The pressure mounts. Every decision feels heavier now. Every call feels like it could be your last. The gods, they don't care if you're tired, if you're struggling. They don't care about your doubts or your fear. They only care about the balance. The balance between life and death. And you're the one who must maintain it. You're the one who must decide who deserves to live and who must be sacrificed. As you stand there, surveying the game unfolding before you, you begin to wonder how much longer you can keep this up. The weight of the responsibility is suffocating, and you can feel it pulling at you with every decision you make. You've already made so many. You've already determined so many fates. How many more can you handle before the gods grow tired of you? Before you fail them? But the game doesn't stop. The players keep moving, the ball keeps bouncing, the gods keep watching. You blow your whistle again, another call, another moment of judgment. And each time, the burden grows heavier. The players are nearly spent now, their bodies battered and bruised. But they keep pushing. They have to. The game isn't over until the gods say it is. And you don't have the luxury of stopping. You don't have the luxury of doubt. The arena is alive with energy, but you're detached from it now. You're just going through the motions, following the rhythm of the game, knowing that no matter what happens next, you will always be a part of it. The gods have claimed you, just as they've claimed the players. You are a part of the ritual, a part of the cycle. The game never ends. It never will. And so, the game continues. Each moment just a small piece of a much larger picture. A picture you can't quite see, but know you're a part of. The gods are watching, the players are fighting, and you are the one who makes the call. The one who decides their fate. But as the game wears on, and the players grow weaker, you begin to wonder, How much longer can I keep this up? How many more decisions will you make before the gods take their toll? How much longer can you bear the weight of their gaze, of their judgment? You don't know the answers. All you know is that the game is still going. The ball is still in play. The gods are still watching. And you, the referee, are still standing in the center of it all, deciding who will survive and who will fall. The day seems to stretch on forever as you stand at the center of the court. The game, the calls, the consequences, they've all become part of you now, woven into the fabric of your existence. You blow the whistle again, the sound sharp and clean, and in that moment, time feels like it pauses. The game halts, the players freeze mid-motion, and the crowd's roar fades to a low murmur. It's like the world is holding its breath, waiting for your next decision. You glance around, taking in the scene, the sweat-drenched players, their faces tired but determined. The silent spectators, their eyes fixed on you with unyielding expectation. You're the one who controls the flow of this ritual, the one who decides the fate of everyone involved. It's an intoxicating feeling, but also a terrifying one. Every time you step onto that court, every whistle you blow, you're walking the thin line between life and death. You could send someone to glory or to the God's judgment with a single motion. And it's not just the players you have to watch. It's the gods too. Their silent presence hovers over you, heavy and watchful. They're always there, observing, judging, waiting for you to uphold the balance. You know, deep down, that they won't forgive a mistake. There's no room for failure in this game. If you falter, if you misjudge, if you show weakness, it's not just the players who will suffer. It's you too. The gods demand perfection. But despite the weight of it all, you don't back down. You can't. You've been chosen for this role, and there's no turning back now. The ball bounces once more, and the game picks up speed, the intensity rising as the players push themselves further. Their movements are a blur of desperation and determination, each one fighting not just for victory, but for survival. You can see it in their eyes. They know the stakes. They know what's at risk. And so do you. You blow your whistle again, signaling foul. This one is undeniable. A clear infraction, an aggressive move, a player stepping outside the rules. The crowd reacts immediately, the gasps and shouts of approval or condemnation echoing in the arena. The tension is thick enough to cut through with a knife. You can feel the weight of it on your shoulders, the pressure mounting with each passing second. There's no room for doubt now. You make the call. As you raise your hand to signal the penalty, you can see the player's face contort in frustration. But there's also something else, fear. He knows what this means. A mistake like this in this game could cost him everything. The gods have no mercy, and neither do you. The penalty is handed down. The game moves on, but you can't shake the feeling that something's changed. The players resume their positions, but now they're more cautious. You can see it in the way they move, the way they glance at you, as if they're looking for any sign of weakness, any indication that you might hesitate. But you don't. You can't afford to. The game isn't about mercy. It's about balance. The gods want to see how well you can maintain that balance. And if you fail, they will take what's theirs. And as the game continues, you feel yourself slipping deeper into this strange, eternal cycle. The calls you make, the decisions you force yourself to make, they all blur together. The players change, the faces shift, but the game stays the same. The gods never tire of it, and neither do you. You become part of the ritual now. There's no escape. And in the quiet moments between calls, when the game slows for just an instant, you begin to wonder, what happens when the game ends? What happens when the gods have had enough? What happens when there are no more calls to make? No more fates to decide? You try to push these thoughts away, but they linger, hovering at the edges of your mind like a distant echo. The game presses on. The whistle blows again. You make the call. The players react, some with relief, some with anger, but they all keep going. The rhythm of the game is unbroken. You can feel it in your bones, in your blood. The gods are still watching, and the game will not stop until they've decided it's over. But that's the thing, isn't it? The game never ends. The players fight. The gods judge. And you, the referee, stand in the middle, the one who holds it all together. You keep the balance. You make the calls. You are the one who decides who survives and who doesn't. The arena slowly empties as the game draws to a close. The players, exhausted and bruised, leave the court, their heads hung low or their backs straight, depending on the outcome. The crowd begins to thin out as well, their chatter rising in the air like the wind before a storm. But you remain. You always remain. The gods will call you back. They always do. You look out over the arena one last time. The stone rings, standing tall, silent in the fading light. The game may be over for today, but you know that soon it will begin again. And when it does, you'll be there, making the calls, holding the balance, deciding the fate of those who play the game. You are the referee, and the game never stops.